My service learning was a little bit different from most people doing their service learning because I was able to do my service learning at the high school that I work at, which is Leesburg High School. And during my service learning, I was able to connect what the book was telling us about emotions, motivation, behavior to what I was visually seeing that was happening with my kids. It's a Title I school, so a lot of my kids that I work with live in single parent homes, or they live with other relatives, or they're in group homes. And some have parents that are actually doing life sentences in prison right now. So their emotions are all over the chart. A lot of them tend to hide their emotions, hide what they're feeling, and as a result of them not being able to express how they feel or articulate what's bothering them, they act out. And with them acting out, they tend to get into a lot of fights, have a lot of arguments, defiant towards authority figures because they don't have any authority figures in their lives. So if teachers and the administrators tell them to do something, they're normally quick to pop off because that's what they're accustomed to, because there's no consequences for them at home for their actions. But the consequences that are given at school, they're like, oh, okay, so I can yell at a teacher, tell a teacher to go do whatever, and all I'm going to get is ISS, or better yet, if I just fight somebody, I can get OSS. And that tends to be how a lot of the students actually think about stuff. So we have freshmen that are parents, they have kids of their own. They come in from middle school, pregnant, or they have a baby during their 8th grade year in middle school. So we have a lot of teen parents on our campus. So they're dealing with a lot of emotions and responsibilities at a very young age. And a lot of them are resentful that they had their babies early and now it's interfering with what they want to do in school or extracurricular activity, because they don't have anybody that's gonna watch their baby if they choose to play a sport, or if they want to go to their prom, or if they want to do homecoming. So they rely a lot on our teen parent person at the high school, and she's pretty good. She helps them get daycare so they can come to school to get an education, so they can graduate and provide a better life for their child or their children and not have to depend on public assistance. The culture, we have a very wide array of people that go to our school, kids wise. We have kids that are, I don't want to say immigrants, but they come from Ecuador and they're not legal citizens here. So their parents are trying to become U.S. citizens. We have kids that come from Mexico, that live with relatives here just so they can go to school in the United States. So that's one of our issues. But we have a very good Spanish teacher on campus that gave us a list of small, simple phrases that we can use to start a conversation But for me, my students, he speaks no English at all. So his way of communicating with me is through text message. He'll text me what he wants to ask me in Spanish and then translate it to English for me to read it. And then when I reply back, I text in English. And when he opens it or reads it, he can translate it into Spanish. So that's how I can communicate with my kids that speak very little English in class. So from this service learning, I've learned that never judge a student based off any other student that you had or I've had. All students are unique. They have their own different quirks. They have their own way of thinking. Their personalities are completely different. So for me, which made it easy for me to learn my students, is I would take them aside one-on-one and we'll hold a small 5-minute conversation. So I would learn a little bit of things about them in that 5 minutes, and they'll learn a little bit about me. So I think that helps with the relationship building when it comes to being an educator, because they want you to build that relationship with that child or that student. Because once you build that relationship, that student will do anything just to have you say, good job, I'm proud of you. So me, I love doing this. And I look forward to graduation. My kids are excited about me graduating. So they asked me yesterday, once I graduated, if I was going to leave the high school that I was at. And I told them, no, I wouldn't leave. So that helped a lot, because once you build a relationship and the kids are accustomed to seeing you, and you just up and leave, you are causing them to shut down and not want to open up, because then you place that fear of everybody's going to leave in them, and that's not what I want to do. So I enjoyed mine, and thanks.